All right, demonstration for the class assignment. It's a weird saying class about going to class, but the assignment for instantiating a class and allowing user input to direct attribute values. Here's my form. So the item name, the item weight, the item value are all entered by text. I should probably go over the class real quick so you know what we're talking about. But here's the public class item. I could probably get rid of this counter now because I am storing all the items that are created in a list. And so I could just pull the length attribute from that instead of trying to look at the number of items. But it could be cool to see how many were created even if some are destroyed later. So I've got the name, weight, cost. This is just a getter for the number of items to be returned. I don't even use it yet. It's an override, so that way I can add items to the list box and it overrides their presentation in text, just a string of the name. And then here's my getters that I need in order to access these private attributes from other areas. So we've just got the constructor here for the items. It's pretty straightforward. It's pretty much always called by the child classes. Equipment is either a weapon or it's armor. These are public. The consumables have 4 booleans as well, whether it's food, potion, poison, or bomb. And all those are just built with the constructor. It calls the item constructor and then adds whatever additional ones need to be considered right there on the ends. So we enter in name, weight, and value. The name has a max length of 16. Weight can't go above 3 digits. Value can't go above 5. These are just kind of arbitrary numbers. The item type right here, equipment or consumable, since it's in this group box, then only one of these can be selected at a time. And down here where it says consumable options in this group box, there's actually another one in the exact same place. If you click equipment, it displays the other one, so you can choose whether it's armor or a weapon. If you click consumable, it gives you the options of food, potion, poison, or bomb. And then you click add item, it'll display the name that is given up here. And then if you select the item and you click show item information, it'll give you a summary of the item information from the list. So here is the green squiggly line that I hate forever. So here's the list that I'm keeping them in. It just basically works like an inventory. It makes it easier to access. Like it's a centralized place for all the items to be, even if they are if they're even a member of the child class, they're still all items technically. So they can be stored in a list together, even though some might be equipment and some might be consumables. So here we just grab the selected item from the list box for the button display. This just displays all the information. A little bit of logic in here just because I didn't want to display all of the Boolean values if they weren't true. So like if it's a weapon, I don't want to show you that it's not armor. So I left a certain part of this just for that. But here it just uses the item info, the box that it puts it in, append a new line that says name, and then gets the name with the method from the class, plugs it right in, does the same thing with the weight and the cost. And then here it's if the type is equipment, then they will append the line the category is weapon if weapon is true, or if armor is true. It does the same thing for the consumables. And then it does have the toString method here that's called, just to make sure it doesn't try to, if you try to call the attribute of a class object, it's not going to give you just the name, it's going to try to give you all sorts of other information. So that just cleans that up. The item submit here is pretty straightforward as well. So it grabs the text from the item, the text box for the item name, Make sure it's at least 3 letters long, so it has to be 4 letters or more. Has a couple messages for that. This one checks to make sure it's a number that's put in. So it's a try parse and basically says if it's not, then show them this. Weight must be positive integer, clear the input, return, make them do it again. Or as it says here, tell the user they are stupid, make them try again. So it does the same thing for cost, just checking for validity, sending out the value in weight or cost so long as it falls within the parameters. Here I basically use the new item. I instantiate a new item just as a generic part of the parent class because saving the item to a list, if I just put in a new item for equipment, I would have to make a list for just equipment in order to, it would have to be a list that's formatted to take equipment objects, and then another list that was formatted to take consumable objects, and that was just sounded like a headache. So if you back it up to the parent class, you can just save them all as items, and then all the other info is saved as well. Here it just gets the item name, the weight, the cost, and then it basically saves whether the weapon or armor buttons are checked when the item is submitted. It does the same thing for the consumables. If something goes wrong or they don't select something, it says please select something. And then adds the item to the list, and then it puts the name of it into the list box inventory that displays it. And then it also gives a little message saying you did it successfully, and then it clears all the inputs so you can enter more. Down here is just the radio buttons that basically when you click the weapon or the equipment one, it will make the visibility change on the consumables. So right here it just changes the visibility to false, so it makes it invisible. And then if it's a consumable, it changes the equipment visibility to false. As simple and ugly as it is, I got to drive code by guardrails on this one. Plenty of fun errors. So if we put in a sword, let's say it's 20 units of weight, it's worth 10 units of gold, and it's equipment, and so the box pops up, it's a weapon, add item, item sword created successfully, okay. Another one will do boots, they're going to weigh 5, say they're worth 10, they're equipment, but these ones are armor. Boots created successfully, you can see the list growing here on the left, and you can select those, but the assignment said make 5 items, let's make 5. We've got, let's do elixir. Let's say it's just 2 weights of unit, but it's very valuable. It's a consumable and it's a potion. Done. Let's add some vodka. 2, very cheap, consumable. You could probably put it under all of these for that, but we'll keep it as poison so we're not lying to ourselves. And for the last one, let's do I don't know, thermite. Very light, very expensive, and it's basically a bomb. Okay, so you can go sword, show item information, boots, show item information, elixir, show item information, the vodka, the thermite. So yeah, it all works pretty well. The code came together pretty nicely, but definitely dancing through all of this was not fun, because I guess I'll be asking about this in class this week, but there's some access modifier parts that I guess I just don't fully grasp, like when the class is set up, so it can be accessed privately from within the same class. I get that. So you set these public, getters or setters, whatever you need, and then you can access it through that. There's a couple times I came across some issues with trying to get the just one attribute from an object, and especially referencing them by the list is nice, but sometimes you're trying to get a hold of one attribute, and if it's private, you can use the getter and it's pretty much a guaranteed way. But man, now that I'm through all of the headache, it's definitely nice. I think I had to get rid of this on the other ones, but these ones are public, so that kind of makes sense. You can shortcut the getter and setter here. But it's funny because like if I shortcutted it here, when I had it shortcutted here, it didn't work. Like the getting didn't work. I don't know. It probably was something I screwed up, but anyway, that's it.